help me. Life is just a dream. You promised me, Oswald.
I know that.
I deserve a better life.
I'm working on it.
It's always nice to have friends that carry you when you're down.
Yeah, you're sick. I help you out. That's why they call me Dr. A.
Yeah, you're the Scottie Pippen to my Jordan. I dominated the game, but you carried me off the court.
I'm the Steve Kerr to your Tony Kukoc.
I like that. I appreciate that. Yeah. Don't bring us both down. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Reuben, formerly known as Beau Oliver, joined here today with Aaron. Almost forgot your name there for a bit. And we are back to review The Penguin, episode 7. We said on the last episode that we wanted to do these last 2 episodes individually because the season's been so good and it ended on such a great cliffhanger. So we are back for episode 7. And if you're not watching on YouTube, you can listen to this wherever you get your podcasts. And follow us on social medias at Nerd Soup, at Beau Soup, at Nerd Soup Monkey. And if you're looking for more Nerd Soup podcasts, go ahead and check out our Patreon page and you'll find more podcasts, but behind a paywall. So dig a tunnel. Aaron, how's everything going? As we mentioned, I'm a little under the weather, but are you over the weather?
I'm in the weather.
Okay.
Yeah.
One with the wind?
Yeah, basically, pretty much. What's wrong with you? A little sniffle?
Yeah, head cold. Honestly, it's always this time. It's always when the seasons are changing. I need that fucking... I always think of Osmosis Jones when the antibiotic freezes the throat. I'm like, I needed a good throat freeze, but I just get Italian ices.
Me and you both, brother.
Yeah.
Love that good throat freeze.
Let's get to the episode. Let's keep this monetized here. Top Hat. I was really excited for this episode. It's funny because I thought, we were going to see like Penguin in his top hat, like the iconic Penguin getup, but it ended up just being a reference to Fred Astaire, which I actually own that movie on DVD. Came with the Fred Astaire collection. That boy could tap dance. But I thought it was just another really, really solid episode. And we predicted this. We suggested that maybe that this is where this episode was going to go, showing us the backstory for Penguin, his life growing up in Crown Point, what happened to his brothers. And I think what we end up learning about Penguin is that he's always been a sociopath, a little monster. Great casting, too, with the younger version of Penguin. Not to be mean to the kid, but he kind of looks like a little penguin.
Yeah. I mean, they're just boys being boys. I don't think he meant to kill him. He was just, they were being mean first. And there's a little roughhousing. How was he supposed to predict the weather?
They were being mean?
They can't get down the ladder. Should have known that. There's bad brothers. I'm not saying they deserve to be locked away and drowned in a sewer. I'm not heartless, but also I can see where young Oz was coming from.
That was really disturbing, dude. When they're like banging on the door, begging for help, and then the closed caption says gurgling. Yeah. I was like, oh shit, they're dying. They're drowning. They're not going to get out of this.
I mean, Gotham's whole water system is at fault here. There's more to play than just Oz. And I'm still rooting for him. So it's kind of hard to back, what would you call it? Matricide is mom. What's brother side?
What is it? It's fratricide. Fratricide. Yeah. Like fraternity.
Ah, that's fun.
Yeah. Who did that in Game of Thrones? Didn't somebody get accused of that? It's always Game of Thrones that I go back to that because everybody's always being accused of
Cain and Abel,
regicide and democide. Oh yeah,
I forget which one did it, but
no, I can never remember.
But yeah, that was disturbing to look back on. I think you can even sense it too. Like good performance by the kid too. Usually kids suck at acting, but I feel like his looks he was giving when his brothers were receiving attention from his mother. Kind of painted the picture of like we didn't really know until that point, and it really turned out just to be like a regular brother relationship up until that point. But the looks he was giving he seemed just very jealous and very protective over his mother, wanting him basically. I think he in his mind it all worked out because now he's receiving all of the attention from his mother. He's the favorite. Real like Sigmund Freud type shit.
You don't think that he intended to kill them, but it was still a very reckless thing to do, and it does come back to he wanted his mom all for himself. No, but a good point because he was just very good at giving those glances and portraying the jealousy and the emotions of the young Oz, and also just kind of fitting the vibe of what Colin Farrell was bringing to the character. We talked about on the last review the accents. The accents in the flashback were probably the worst examples so far of the exaggerated New York accent, because holy shit, even though I really enjoyed seeing it, but God, they could have toned it down a little bit. But yeah, that was really, really fucked up. And it does make it harder. I mean, you're not supposed to root for anybody when you're watching a show, but naturally, he's the main character. He's charismatic. You like him. You really like the performance. But no, these last two episodes, you can't see him in the same light. Because when Sophia puts it in perspective of how he covered up for a serial killer that was specifically targeting women, and now that he killed his own brothers, he's a diabolical supervillain. You know, that's I don't know if he was born that way, but that's what he is eventually molded into. And there was nobody there to sort of stop those tendencies that he had to be violent, to be conniving. Because then we get that confrontation between Sophia and Francis in the modern day. And she makes the point that you molded Oz into the monster that he is today. That ended up being my favorite scene of the whole episode, maybe of the series, because I thought that back and forth was great. You know, the humblings that they were trading between each other. You know, when Francis was talking that gangster shit to Sophia, I was like, yeah, give her a little taste of that medicine. And then Sophia pulls the card of what happened to her sons. And then she feels sorry for Francis when she realizes that she's dealing with dementia. So that back and forth I thought that was brilliant. And that's what's so great about this show. It's a show that takes place in a superhero universe. The best moments are just characters trading verbal barbs. And yeah, that back and forth was great. What did you think about them not showing us the confrontation between Sophia and Francis, where they left it in episode 6? That it just sort of picks up. Penguin rushes home. He finds Vic bloodied.
I don't mind that. It kind of paints the picture without... I think they've done a good job of building Sophia to the point where, yes, she has done some bad things, but she kind of has that sympathetic side. So I think even showing her blindside Vic with a crowbar, I'm not saying it would undo that. I think it still would play for the character, but it leaves the audience with more of a, it still keeps Sophia in a light that separates her from the Penguin after seeing all of his, obviously with his past and the things he's done up until this point. And it's something where I think, you can pretty much fill in the blanks on your own. It's always an interesting choice. I mean, whether it be for budgetary reasons or just kind of painting a picture without necessarily showing you what happened. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it does. We talked about it with House of Dragon when they kind of cut from the battle and you see the aftermath and how it could leave a haunting impression of everything that just happened, or the opposite side to be like, well, that seemed like a really cool battle. I kind of want to see that there. I don't think it really left out much. I think we got all we needed from that shot. Yeah, I think it's something where you can obviously, like I said, fill in the gaps in your own and shows kind of what Sophie is capable of, but also keeps her in a light where she could have killed Vic, but chose to spare him. And also the way she looked after her mother, well, not looked after his mother, but kind of sympathized with his mother and has shown sympathy for characters throughout the whole season. So it's kind of like the fine line of where you can view the Penguin up until a certain point of watching the series of, doing what he has to do, not afraid to get his hands dirty. But at the end of the day, he's a good guy, where that's kind of muddled, where Sophia's kind of taken that position of, especially from an audience perspective, of actually being one that does what she's has to do without going over a certain line.
Right. I think that's what's so sad about Sophia is that she's a broken character, but it was so deliberate. It's not like she was just naturally bad and that behavior was encouraged, but it's because of what was done to her. So she's trying to get this revenge and she's trying to put the pieces of her life back together. But she has that moment later in the episode where she finally breaks down and she doesn't even understand why she's doing it anymore. And that's why a character like Julian Rush is such a villain in her story, because he pushes her to being even worse than she already was.
No, he might be the most fucked up one there, especially in the position that he's in, using his genius and his
understanding of psychology.
But he uses it to manipulate people. But it's fun how they played with these characters, because I think when you look back at their past, Sophia really is a product of her environment in the way that in her upbringing in this world, and everything bad that's happened to her has been caused from outside sources where I feel like the Penguin would tell you that's what happened to him, but he's really the cause of all of the downfall around him. It is also as fun too when you think about like environmentally where they were brought up, where you would think Sophia brought up in a place of privilege with money, where the Penguin was really brought up with nothing. But he really had, like, from what the brief flashes that we've seen, fatherless, but still had a support system with his brothers. It seemed like a normal brother dynamic, and his mother cared about them, showed them all attention, but he kind of manifested it in his own way to make him feel neglected when that really wasn't the case.
Right, like it's even when they we see it when they see Rex, that he's naturally inclined to admire somebody like that. He knows what he does. He's got no illusions otherwise as to how Rex is making his money. And he admires that. He looks up to somebody like Rex. And there were even theories that maybe Rex was Penguin's actual father. It feels very Game of Thrones, Tyrion, Mad King territory. But I think they mentioned after the credits, when they talked about the episode, that it's an origin story of his own making. The tragedy that he caused. And similar to Batman, it mirrors that, where there's the loss of family at such a young age that traumatizes you, and you can go in either direction. Both characters are very fucked up, but the Penguin becoming a gangster, a lot of it is just of his own making. It's tragedy that he caused himself, for himself.
He's just got a bad case of middle child syndrome.
He is such a middle child.
I can relate, even though I'm the baby, but I'm somehow that the middle child's the favorite, which is fine. Me and my sister accepted that a long time ago, but it is fun to see.
It's funny though, because Francis was talking up this big game about how Oz is always 2 steps ahead of everyone. And then his big plan for when Sal finds their place of operations is to have one of the guys just cut the lights.
He's 2 steps ahead, but he's walking a different path.
Yeah, right.
He's like off on the side somewhere. It's his steps ahead never work out.
I'm like, man, what did Oz cook up here? This is going to be something good. And the lights just go off and he throws a couple punches.
He's good at his plan not working and just being like, somebody do something. Make a loud noise or shut the lights off.
Yeah, that was, we talked about it before the mics went on, but that confrontation between Oz and Sal, and then Sal's heart just gives out in the middle of their fight, and Oz is pissed.
So fucking funny.
It was hilarious.
Even drops the line he did on Batman.
Yeah, I love that. I got you.
That's his catchphrase.
Dude, I love that car chase scene in the Batman is incredible.
Yeah, I just rewatched
Talk about a humbling.
It's so funny too, because even in that movie, when they're like, that's Oz Cobb, Falcone's right-hand man, and then later in the movie, they're like, this guy kind of sucks. He just drives around, I guess. I don't know what his deal is. But it is fun going back and rewatching that, and now watching the Penguin, seeing kind of how, like, the foundation of the criminal underworld of Gotham. Yeah,
and like him having this moment where he triumphs over, like a legendary titan of the criminal underworld, Sal Maroni, and he feels he's been cheated because Sal dies in the middle of their fight. That it's so much more petty than it actually seems for the Penguin. It's just a matter of
he was getting his fucking ass kicked. He was getting walloped. He wasn't coming back from that. He's lucky his heart gave out.
Yeah, right. No, that's another great point, that he believes that, if the fight was going to go on, he's got like this delusional confidence in himself that if the fight was to go on, he would have won.
He's telling Vic later. Makes it seem like a fucking Rocky movie.
One fucking hit to the chest, he couldn't fucking breathe anymore, Vic. I'm telling you, he starts gasping for air. I just had to watch him. It was pathetic. I started doing CPR on him. I went to bring him back to life for round 2.
I thought it had been fucking hilarious if he brought him back to life just to kill him again.
It was really funny to me in the beginning of the episode when he finds Vic and he's like, just go find me an army, Vic. And then when he's got the dudes at the base of operations all geared up with their weapons, and he's like, I wouldn't choose any other army. I wouldn't have it any other way but to ride out with you guys. He's just so full of shit, dude.
What are your names again?
It's like Henchman 1, 2, and 3.
We got the mixer guy who's always mixing the drugs.
Oh, he's the best.
And he's Doorman. Who could forget about Doorman? Here's a M40.
Also, when like Sal finds when Sal storms in and Penguin's like, no, take it, it's all yours. But why would you share it with Sophia? He just killed this man's wife and child, and he's trying to pit him against his new ally. He's just so shameless, dude, and I get such a kick out of it every time.
Yeah, he thinks he can get his way out of any situation. It's like, all right, so I killed your family. But me and you, Sal, we're cut from the same cloth. This could be ours. Because he's just like, he would do that shit.
No, 100%. Like, if the shoe was on the other foot, he would be like, yeah, no, you make some good points.
Yeah. Starting to feel bad for Vic, because the more we see about Penguin, I'm like, oh, he's going to fucking sell him out any chance he can get.
Dude, that's what I was thinking about, too. You know, even after that sweet moment that they have in episode 6, it comes after something so fucked up. But yeah, I'm really nervous for Vic, because Vic's been, other than that one fuck up, and we saw what Penguin did to him. He made him get in the fucking hole and like put him face to face with the dead bodies. Is very disgusting and disturbing. But up until now, it feels like that's his only mistake. So what happens when he makes like an even bigger mistake? What is Penguin going to do?
Yeah, and everyone likes to compare the show to The Sopranos, but I think one of like the overlooked things from especially the final season of Sopranos is Melfi realizing, because that's one thing that sympathized Tony Soprano were those moments, and that's why I can't stand when people shit on those therapy sessions, but those were a way for the audience to sympathize with him and kind of relate to him in a bit. And when she realizes that was his way of kind of playing a part to make himself more sympathetic in Melfi's eyes, thus kind of taking the blame off him in his own mind, I thought that was one of the best parts of The Sopranos. And you're kind of seeing that with Oz a little bit, where all of his justifications are nothing. It's only for him. And I think as the seasons progress, you kind of see that he's not going to be somebody who, as much as we want him to be a father figure to Vic, support him and have his back no matter what, because I think that's just something that's going to flip and probably happen in this last episode. And it's going to be sad to see. I mean, obviously he was a kid when it happened, but if he can basically cause the death of his brothers, his own blood, and feel no sympathy for it, who's Vic, some kid he met 2 months ago.
Right. Yeah. No, he's very good at that. He's such a great sociopath, because he's great at playing the role of this loving father figure, that he's got Vic's best interests at heart. And even the entirety of Crown Point, because that's another one of his motivating. That's another part of his motivation, is he wants to, so-called take care of the neighborhood. But it all just comes back to vanity. It's just a way for him to shore up his position, because once he's on top, that's not going to be the priority anymore, taking care of people. He's very good at using people on the bottom so that he can elevate his position. But I imagine once he gets there, it's not going to make a difference to him whether or not people are taken care of, or if he has to sell out Vic in order to save his own skin, he'll definitely do it. I really hope they don't go that route. I hope Vic just becomes like what Penguin was to Falcone. Like, they just have a long, successful career together. Just Vic becomes totally corrupted and very, very competent. And the Penguin's like, I love this kid because he's just as ruthless as me. He's just like a younger me.
Or Vic takes out Penguin somehow.
Yeah, or some shit like that, like your Frankenstein's monster type of situation. I don't think they're going the route of Vic suddenly is going to, realize what we're doing is wrong. Like he has a crisis of conscience, like with Sophia.
Well, I mentioned it last episode, and I've been thinking about it a lot, like the Red Hood thing. I think it would be an interesting thing to explore, especially if they're going to do more series within this universe as the rest of the trilogy plays out. I think it could be an interesting way to introduce the Red Hood character, where he does get betrayed, feels a type of way against Penguin, where he takes on his own persona and kind of does his own thing. And I think that
right.
I
mean, Red Hood goes after criminals, right? And he goes after the mob.
Yeah, but he kind of does his justice.
Butts heads with Batman.
Yeah, he kind of does it his way. He does what he thinks Batman should be.
Right. I think that could be a genius way to do it, dude. Where if he becomes Red Hood and he starts just like killing off mobsters, and Batman's like, "What the fuck? You can't do that. You got to be my Robin. You got to be my baby boy."
Because I don't think they're going to introduce a Robin, and I think the Red Hood story, even though it's never played out in live action, it is one where everybody kind of knows. Like, it wouldn't be a fun twist. I think they did it in Arkham Knight, okay. But like once they started getting the flashbacks of Jason Todd and Joker, any casual Batman fan kind of knew that twist was coming. So I don't think they could play it out where it would be a surprise to anyone, especially with the internet now. Everyone's going to call it out right away once it happens. If they did try to set up a Tim Drake storyline, So like doing it this way would be a kind of fun way to keep the Red Hood character and kind of have him come from a similar upbringing and kind of follow along a similar path as Tim Drake, but still having that element of surprise that when it does happen, people are going to be like, oh shit, that's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, and I definitely think that I don't think we'll see Batman in this show, but after what happened at the end of episode 7 with the bomb going off, you're on Batman's radar now. This isn't something Batman can ignore. Because for the most part, it's been underground. It's just mobsters killing mobsters, fighting for power. That's not Batman's jurisdiction. Batman's just trying to take down the whole operation. He doesn't care who's killing who. But once you bomb a residential area, where I'm sure many people died and many more injured, like that's on Batman's radar. He's going to be tapping in now.
It's going to be interesting to see like the aftermath of that, especially with Sophia. Like as I was saying before, her kind of, she doesn't seem like someone who would just indiscriminately kill innocents, and you can make the argument that people working for Penguin aren't necessarily innocents, but if any of the collateral damage above ground, it could really paint this picture. Like she blew up a city block, it looks like. You got to imagine some people were caught in the crossfires that were just completely innocent. But yeah, I don't think Batman is turning an act of terrorism. Batman's just going to be like, maybe I'll wait a little bit.
Yeah, like, oh no, it's Crown Point. Nobody cares about Crown Point.
He's in Cancun. This is off season.
And the whole season you have Sophia running from this reputation of being a terrible person, a serial killer, and then she commits an act of domestic terrorism. Just like 2 scenes before this, she was ready to give up the game. She probably should have taken that flight to Sicily, and then it's Julian Rush who gives her that push, and she takes it to the extreme level of, as you said, blowing up a city block. So just giving Kristen Milioti the opportunity, in the beginning, you're not sure whether she did it or, is she being framed? Is she being set up? Is she crazy? Is she normal? And then you gradually learn, okay, she is normal, but she's been traumatized by this whole experience. And then you're back to her being the villain that everybody's been telling us she actually is. So the fact that she got the opportunity to play around with this character, and then finally come full circle to just being the villain that everybody thought you were, was great. She was terrifying in that moment when she's on the phone with Oz, and the way they set it up, the slow approach to the van. You think that you're going to see like Francis's severed head or something disgusting.
I knew Bob.
Oh, yeah. I was just like, oh, shit.
Like, there's definitely a bomb in that car. There's not going to be a bomb in there.
Yeah, big bomb.
He doesn't even let his crew know. I was like, oh, shit, bomb. He's just like, oh, I'm out of here.
He scurried out of there.
Didn't even give him a heads up.
No, he didn't give one fuck, dude. And then he's saved by in the same place where his brothers died, so... Poetic, tragic poetry there. And the way he fell down too, he kind of looked like Batman when the bomb exploded and he kind of falls down the ladder. I was like, ooh, that's kind of cool. But you know what ended up being the most fucked up scene of the episode? When she convinces Gia not to speak. And then Rush is like, is she going to be a problem? And Sophia's like, what?
No, I don't want you to kill my niece.
He was straight up about to kill this kid. He's like, I know people there. I know she's got a peanut allergy.
Even that shit he was doing with the red lights to Francis.
Oh, yeah, really freaky.
But, yeah, that was a creepy conversation. Especially, like, that's your only family left and you kind of leave her in this place. I guess to just trying to separate her and her justification. It's good that she's out of this life, but, I mean, damn. It's kind of brutal.
No, dude, really, really brutal to try and manipulate her, gaslight her a bit, and then just give her the truth. Like, listen, your family, your parents, they were terrible people, the Falcone family. They all deserved it. So that was really the last straw for Sophia until she's brought back in. But yeah, that was to see her go to those lengths to save her own skin. You could see why it would be a breaking point. It's just one thing to kill somebody. It's another thing to manipulate a kid into thinking it's okay.
Yeah, I feel like nobody's gonna end off happy.
Yeah, no, these are what we're really realizing is that all of these characters are just fucked beyond repair. And the characters who do have a chance at normalcy, it's never going to happen for them because the people around them are not going to let it happen. They're just going to push all the wrong buttons.
Yeah, it's like only going to end up in disaster, and then Batman's going to show up and just beat the shit out of you.
The memes about that have been really funny. Like, oh, I'm the Penguin. I'm finally on top. And Batman just punches you in the fucking throat. I do love that, dude, because I'm watching this and I'm like, yo, Batman's out there, man. He's watching, yo. You guys might think he's not watching you, but he's watching. He knows who you are, man.
We'll get a Gordon, at least.
We got to get a Gordon, yeah. No, and Gordon's going to be like, should I call the Bat? And the other guy's going to be like, I don't know. I don't trust him, Jim. Do you need a lozenge? Can you stand 6 feet away from me? A lot of fluids coming out of your mouth when you speak. No, I think you got to get some Jeffrey Wright in here. I mean, I love that guy.
Yeah, what's he doing these days?
He's in Last of Us Season 2.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, HBO. He's on a lot. He's at the Warner Brother lot.
No, it is just so funny how they all just show up in the same shows. It's not a bad gig. You know, you star in an HBO hit show, and then you end up just getting jobs in other HBO shows.
It's like, oh, bad news, Jeffrey. Westworld's canceled. But Batman and Last of Us. All right.
But we're putting you in The Last of Us. Come here, Jeff. You thought we were going to kick you to the curb?
But we are going to have to downgrade you from your loft and give you a 1-bedroom.
And the queen is now a double.
Communal bathroom. You got to do laundry in the basement. But look at the view.
Hey, look, Kit Harington's your roommate.
Hello.
Yeah, so episode 7, good episode. I'm excited for the finale, man. I mean, fuck, I'm kind of upset that it's going to be all over, and then we have to wait so long for the Batman Part 2.
What is that? 2028 now?
2026 October.
Ugh.
Yeah, a year and like 10 months.
Remember when things came out? Remember that?
Dude, I used to love it when things came out. Now
so
nothing
cool.
comes out anymore. Yeah.
You'd watch a season of television and be like, all right, well, that took 3 months and it's going to start up again the same time next year. So it's really only like a 9-month wait.
All right. You think we get Batman in the finale?
No.
What would your percentage be?
I just don't think Pattinson would want to do it. Not because he's against like showing up as a cameo in a television series. I think he's just like, I'd rather just stay home.
That's fair. Yeah. I say that there's a 2% chance we see Batman and 50% we see Gordon.
Or it could be like, if they are they filming right now? Or were they?
I
could see it being like,
so.
they're just on set of the Batman and they're like, hey, can we get 5 minutes? We just need you to look menacing into the camera.
And it's also, you could just put somebody else in the suit. He doesn't even have to speak.
No, I'll notice those cheekbones anywhere. You give me a fake Pattinson, I'm the first one calling that out.
You and all the Twilight girlies.
Or just take one of the Mickey 17 wax doubles they made.
That's funny. It's a good reference.
We got the finale coming up. We'll have a new leader of the free world. Should be a fun week.
Yeah, dude. By the time we review the next episode, the whole world is going to be, we could be under martial law.
No, I've talked to some people. Everyone said they can be really cool no matter what. I'm just happy there's no more political ads. But I like to think there's someone out there, just like the last ad he sees is that's the swaying vote. Like he's just sitting on his couch watching, and it's like, we cannot take 4 more years of Kamala Harris. He's like, oh, I guess we can't. Then the next ad plays. It's like, Donald Trump will destroy America. Now, wait, hold on a second.
I didn't know that. I know he wanted to destroy. This is my country. I like this country.
I'm going to pickle here. Then the next ad. Kamala Harris cannot happen. He's like, oh, well, guess I know who I'm voting for.
Literally Homer Simpson, dude.
It's Teddy. Before he leaves his house to vote, the last commercial he sees is going to be who he's picking. All
right, guys, that does it for our review of The Penguin episode 7. We will be back for the finale, episode 8. Looking forward to that. Aaron, thanks so much for joining me. I'm going to pass out because I'm on like my last electrolyte before I die.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, everybody pray for me.
Don't like soloing next week or...
Maybe, dude. Yeah, you're going to have to fucking one-man show like Batman. We might not get Pattinson, but we'll get Aronson.
Yeah, that was seamless.
Thank you, man. I mean, it's my flu game. What can I say? It's the will to win, baby. All right, guys. See ya.